Hey everyone, this is Dr. Diane Hayden, and you are listening to the Dr. Diane Show. I'm excited today to have with me Barb Pritchard. She is a brand strategist and intuitive designer who helps visionaries, healers, and thought leaders translate their magic into soulful brand experiences felt across every client touchpoint. Through her legacy brand experience, she magnetizes aligned clients and amplifies their sacred message, creating full body, yes brand experiences. You can learn more about her at www.infinitybrand.design to learn more or even book a session. So, welcome, Barb. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Yeah. So, we all want to learn more. Marketing is probably, you and my favorite topic, and all of the people that we work with's worst nightmare. That's why
Yes.
we do what we do because they don't want to do it. But let's talk about. I want to learn like a little bit about how you got into, the field. But let's first talk about what is a legacy brand. Your work focuses on that, and I think people might be like, oh, I've never, thought about that or heard about that. So, what is it, and why is creating one so important in your mind?
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe we should like back up just a little bit and kind of define what is a brand, because I feel like even just a brand can be like this amorphous, unidentifiable thing that people just don't know how to really kind of wrap their head around. So a brand is, imagine an umbrella, like I'm popping up with an umbrella. Um, it's an umbrella that encompasses every client interaction, every touch point that they come in contact with within your business. So everything from like how they learn about you, perhaps like on social media or through Natural Nutmeg magazine, even a book or blog post, things like that, all the way through how they go, where they go to find out more about you, your website or sales funnels, or then how do they, become your client, your customer? What does that look like? What kind of experience is that like? Where they're going to, whether, interacting with you in person, the office experience, things like that, or digitally, and then all the way through being your brand advocates. So people who refer others to you, your loyal customers, things like that. That is your brand, right? There is also your logo, your colors, your fonts, all of that. Those, I consider that your branding with an ing afterwards. So that way it's just a portion of your brand. It's not the entire thing, right? But a legacy brand is going to take that up a notch. It's like the energetic imprint, that resonance that you leave in the world when they interact with your business or your brand. It I like that it like communicates your purpose, your soul purpose, the reason you started your business, and it just makes you recognizable. It's differentiating yourself from similar providers or even others in, even different industries that do some different types of modalities and things, but it leaves you as a trusted authority in your business, and you're credible, and it just makes you magnetic and memorable, right? So it's just ultimately, how do you want people to feel when they interact with your business? That's a legacy brand. And it's important because it doesn't just exist for this moment. It doesn't just follow trends. Um, it's you, it's your purpose, your calling, and you're infusing it with your needs and desires of your soul clients. So,
And would you say it's different for a holistic practitioner versus, like somebody who runs a coffee shop, let's say?
yeah, I would. Well, actually, I would say it's probably different for those like who run a holistic practice, because not authority, authenticity is going to be so super important. Understanding and having communicate why you started your business, and the sole reason for it, your passion. What was the purpose behind it, and in attracting those soul clients to that, that's going to be what sets you apart, and that does apply to the coffee shop owner. It does. I think where the differentiating factor there is going to be for like the corporate type things, a lot of those are not really built on their passion, their purpose, and kind of sometimes feel out of touch, right? Some of them do, a lot of them do. But when you are creating from, your passion, it's important to have that as the kind of the foundation of your business. And it just sets you apart, right? It's more than your visuals. It's more than your tone of voice. Those are important too, very important, but it's just how you show up and consistently show up, all across the board, right?
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you got in marketing. Like, what was there something? I mean, did you always know you wanted to do this? Were you kind of drawn to it?
I did. I did
Yeah.
actually. It's so funny. I was probably 11 years old and I was going to start a babysitting business and I had so much fun creating the flyers. I even had
That's
business
awesome.
cards, things like that.
Yeah.
Never started the business, but I was doing the marketing for it.
Right.
I mean, I babysat for a family, so that counts. But when I was in high school, I really was just drawn. I don't know. It's like that inner knowing, the intuitive knowing was just kind of like, I want to take, a piece of paper, just like a notebook here, and make it interactive and make it have meaning and just all of that kind of stuff. So I went to college for website design and branding and got to just I just knew. I was very one of those very few fortunate ones who just knew very early on what I was going to do with my life. So,
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Unlike me, who went to school for marketing, thought I was going to do that, then ended up going, into the health fields for exercise physiology and all that. And now I've kind of worked my way back to,
full circle.
yeah, doing more marketing than I thought I was ever going to do. But it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's just to me it's fun. I mean, I understand the heaviness that it can bring when, and I think that's just a matter of, understanding that, you have a lot of choice and choice is powerful in how you market yourself and you don't have to do them all. But I think it's fun to kind of find your path, like what does feel aligned for you and how do you want to show up in the world? And you have some, agency and you have lots of agency in that and how you can show up. So I don't know. It's just fun to me.
Yeah. We're the weirdos.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've never looked at it. I think the biggest difference is I never looked at marketing as sales, as
Right.
like, kind of just uncomfortable pushing stuff on people that they didn't want. And especially in the fields that we work with, it's
Yeah.
like I laugh when people are like, oh, I don't like to market myself because I don't like sales and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, you're doing it, you got to do it anyway. I mean, like you're selling yourself every day just by being a practitioner, honestly.
Yeah.
And so you don't look at it that way. Look at it as you're offering something that people want and need. And then it doesn't feel like selling. Basically, you're
Yeah.
just telling people about who you are. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is my passion. This was my journey. Many people had some type of like, traumatic experience happen to them, and that led
Hmm.
them down the path to doing what they do. And really, it's just sharings, with people. That's the way I always looked at it. I never was
Yes.
like, you know, um, oh, I'm pushing stuff on people that they don't want.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think that's what I love about our particular audience, like the holistic practitioner, because they're not going to participate in that, bro marketing. And that's not how that's just not how they function. That's not how we function, right? It is serving. It's like I was led down this path in one way, shape, or form. I was given this gift of this talent, whatever that is. And this is how I can serve. This is how I can lock arms with others and, the human race and lift as we climb, right? Um, and I think that's a magical thing is to be able to go like, here, this is how I do this. If you know anybody who could use that or could benefit from that, please like let them know I'm here and let me help them.
right.
Right?
Yeah. So you talk about creating a full body yes brand experience. What is that?
It's that vibe, right? So I consider there's to be like three different types of buyers. There's those who just they have to know everything that there is to know about the person or their offer to be able to be like, "Mm, yeah, that's for me." Or there are those who are just kind of like, Just give me the highlights, right? But then there are those, and a lot of those who are in this holistic world who it's based on a vibe, right? Um, yes, it has to be aligned to what they're needing and all of that kind of stuff too. But it's like, is this the person I've been looking for? Is this the answer? I really want this to feel aligned in with everything I'm needing. So that full body, yes, it's just like that inner knowing that's like, yes, aligned visuals, for example, things that don't feel jarring, right? Like a logo that has everything crammed into it all at once. Like that's jarring, right? Or, it needs to be appealing. The words you use, all of that, it's you're speaking their language. And I think that's really the important thing, as well as how they become your client in that interaction too. So the onboarding process, the offboarding process, things like that. Um, it just creates that, ooh, I feel so seen by this person that, yeah, anything they offer or whatever they offer that's in line with this, I'm absolutely there.
Yeah. I think what a lot of practitioners struggle with is they are either they're not attracting the client that they want. They're like attracting a whole different,
Hmm.
you know, um, part of the market, not anything that they intentionally were setting out to attract, or they're not attracting clients at all.
Yeah.
So you would say that a lot of that might be due to just the brand that they're putting out there or lack thereof, right?
Hmm. I do. And I think ultimately what it boils down to is, was your brand, and I mean that entire umbrella, was your brand built with a solid foundation? You can build a house without a foundation. It's just not going to stand very long. Same thing with your business. Whenever you market yourself in a way that isn't aligned with that sole purpose, that magic, your differentiator, all of that, if it's not built on that, if it's just kind of like, well, I like this color, I'm going to choose that. And there's nothing wrong with choosing that. But is it grounded in your why? And is it grounded in what's going to resonate with your soul clients? Like, um, certain colors may be jarring for those you serve, but others may not be, things like that. Also, just the entire experience. I think it's just, you know, you want to create an experience that feels 100% aligned. You want to be remembered, and it just feels easy for you. And I think that's probably the big one. So make it easy on yourself and base everything on your why you did this, your purpose, your mission, all of that. And then look at your soul client. What show empathy for them. What kind of points are they looking for? What are they needing? Um, what does that big dream for them look like? And when you build every client interaction based upon that, it feels seamless. It feels easy, right?
Yeah. So when someone comes to work with you, like what can they expect? Where do you start and what's kind of the process like?
The main one is if they are, a lot of people come to me first because they need a website or they need a sales funnel or something like that. And they have the remnants of a brand. They have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but it's not very cohesive. And when I ask them, like, what is the purpose behind this and all of this kind of stuff, and they're just not really certain why, or, maybe it was something that was created 5 years ago and we evolve, right? We evolve as people and our businesses evolve and our brand should evolve too. So we really kind of take a look at, okay, how does this serve you right now? Is it feeling like this is aligning with where you want to be in the next year, 2, 5 years, 10 years or so? Um, so we look at your branding and see, next, after we look at your alignment and strategy and things like that, then we look at your branding. If that's feels solid and like, yes, that does totally align with where I want to be and where I want to go and apply this across everything to build a cohesive brand. Then we look at, okay, let's look at your website. Let's look at your book cover, your sales funnels, things like that. Do you want to create like, marketing pieces like flyers and business cards and things like that, or even Oracle card decks and things like that? So really, once we have that foundation sound and it feels sound to you, then we move on to the visual aspect of it.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so, and it's like as you're talking, I think one of the things that is overwhelming to holistic practitioners is how many things they have to think about, right?
Yeah.
It's like a brand and a website and oracle cards and flyers and whatever. Where do I start? I mean, like how
Yeah.
do I do all of this when it's just me as a solo practitioner?
hmm and then the whole like onboarding the automations that come with it, like how do they book with you? How do they, everything in between. It's just like it is a lot. It can feel like a lot. And I think the thing to do is, go back to the basics. Go back to your why. Why did you start your business? Why was this your calling? What did you go through? And take a look at what that means. I've actually got a free gift that I would love to offer those, that can kind of help kind of dive into it a bit and journal on it a little bit. And I'll be happy to share that. But to really kind of base everything on just start from square one and make sure it is, and just kind of, you don't have to, if you've been in business for a long time and you're seeing these red flags, like red flag clients who are not aligned, this is definitely what you want to do, and revisit this every so often. I would say probably once a year or so. You know, bonus points for every 6 months because we evolve so quickly. But yeah, I think go back to the basics and look at your why. And is every decision that every client touch point is based on, does it go back to your why?
Yeah. Well, we won't keep people waiting. What's the free gift?
The free gift is my Visionaries Legacy Brand Alignment Guide. And you can go to infinitybranddesign.com/legacy and you can grab that. It's a PDF download. You can kind of go through and journal on it, and it'll, give you some clarity to help you clarify your resonance and identify any gaps in your client experience. Again, that's every little client touch point. But you can anchor, it'll help you anchor your legacy with intention. And I think that's really important and helpful to kind of show up with authenticity. And I'm going to drop that word again because I think especially right now, it's super important with the, onset of AI, and it's only going to be becoming more and more prevalent. And personally, I'm a fan of it, but deciphering what's real and what isn't, I think that's probably the most important thing for those in the holistic practice to um to be you and be. It's going to be the easiest thing you can be as you, right?
Yeah, I actually think AI is going to benefit holistic practitioners
hmm
in a way of, driving more clients to them because I think that
Yes.
people are going to be able to kind of see through, just the masses of it. I mean, it's already like if somebody sends me something, I can tell, like, I don't think you wrote that. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't quite sound like you,
Yeah.
and it's just while it might be great to help you maybe just tweak some copy or things like that you're writing, I feel like it people can read through that
hmm
and don't use AI to write everything that you do with your marketing because I don't I it doesn't sound like you
Yeah.
ultimately. And
Right.
I think that that's going to differentiate the people who are in our field because
hmm
they come, I believe most of them don't have a problem talking about their journey and what they do and all of that because it's a very personal thing.
hmm
They're not salesy people. They're not trying to come up with like, oh, let me find these catchy phrases or things like that. And so the less you use AI, I think the better because it'll make you stand out, honestly.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of using it in an ethical way that, I mean, it takes a lot of tweaking to make it sound like you.
Yeah.
And I think that can be helpful. I think it can help, with coming up with some content ideas and kind of, brainstorming some things. I think it's really helpful in that. But yeah, that's where we serve people who just understand the vibe. Like we could feel it. It's like you said, you can feel it. You just kind of intuitively know when something isn't. mm, no, this is missing the soul of you or something, something
Right.
along those lines, right? You can tell. And I mean, I totally use it. I don't use it for everything, but I tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak a lot to get my content, my information that I use it for to sound like me because
Yep.
I don't want it to sound like everybody else. And that's who wants that, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, what's the biggest mistake you see holistic practitioners making when it comes to branding?
Oh man. Following trends, I think, is probably going to be the number one thing. Unless that's what your business is built on, I would probably wager it's not. But you don't have to dance on social media. And there's a trend right now that's going on that it's beautiful, and it's very attractive to a lot of people. It's this luxe brand kind of a thing, and glitzy and glam and all of this kind of stuff. But everybody's got it. It looks just like, it doesn't matter if you're in the same industry as them or if they're not. Everybody has it, and it's just kind of like, how do you differentiate yourself between those? Is that branding, you know, based on anything that's aligned with you? And if it's not, then you know, it's just, again, the whole vibe thing. It's the energy that it produces. People are just kind of like, I mean, it's pretty, but it just feels like this person over here too, and that person over there. So don't follow trends. Follow your heart, follow your soul, follow your purpose, and what's important to you. Pro tip: what I like to do, if it comes to your visuals and things, and visuals and verbiage and tone of voice, things like that, define 3 words that feel really aligned. Your values, use those to kind of help guide and see what comes up. Go to wordhippo.com. This is my favorite thing to do. Wordhippo.com, and just go through it, and it gives you a ton of different like synonyms and meanings, and you can go through antonyms too, and just all the wonderful things, and find words that define who you are, your values, but also how you want people to feel as they interact with your business, not just your branding, your business. And base those decisions, every decision that you make, whether it's this offer, does this feel aligned? About this social media post, does it feel grounded in those 3 words that are based on your values, and also the 3 words for your feelings? And I think that's very helpful.
Yeah, I love that. I've never heard of wordhippo.com. I wrote that down.
It's my favorite place. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Um, so for someone who's listening who's, overwhelmed, which we see that all the time, a lot of holistic practitioners are, they don't know, what to do first, where to spend their money. Do they, did they work on their website, or did they put money into social media or branding or whatever? Like, where do you
Yeah.
recommend somebody start?
I would say go back to those 3 words, the values and also how you feel. And just pick maybe one a week, or one point of your brand a week to take a look at. Take a look at your visuals. Do they align with those experiences that you want them to have? And if not, just pick, okay, what can you do to make those tweaks? Is it maybe edit your colors or your fonts or whatever? Maybe tweak the wording. I am always tweaking the wording on my my website. It's just, and I think we all are, because if it's just like, I don't know if that fully represents me or not, or I've changed or something. But remember, you don't have to do everything at once. It can feel very overwhelming. Just pick um, one thing a week, one thing a month, whatever, one thing a quarter, just something to take a look at and sit with and vibe with, and just look at it and think, is this based on how I want them to feel as they interact with every aspect of my brand or business? And does it align with my values and what I stand for? And I think that can kind of help guide your way. And you can see there might be some things that are screaming at you, address that first, right?
Yeah.
And some things that are just like not, if there's anything coming in between causing friction between clients saying yes to you. If that's something that you're noticing, maybe it's the wording on your website or the visuals or the flow on your website, because there is a important flow to your website that you want. You're remember that you are the guide. You're not their hero. You're their guide, and they are the hero of their story. That's something to kind of keep in mind and take a look at that. And if that's screaming at you, going, people are coming to my website, but they're not actually booking, see what can be done to kind of align with that.
Mhm. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Well, this has been awesome. 30 minutes just flew by for me
it did.
talking
Me
about
too.
marketing because we love it. So
Yes.
again, people can go to your website for the free gift. What was that URL again?
The URL for the free gift is infinitybranddesign.com/legacy. Oh yeah, go grab that and sit again. You don't have to do all of it at once. You can just, set aside some time once a day, once a week, once a quarter, whatever, and just kind of sit with it and see where could you improve, or what feels already aligned, and pat yourself on the back, right?
Awesome.
Go
And
grab
is
that.
that
Yeah.
is that the best place for people to get in contact with you too?
Best place to get in contact with me is at infinitybrand.design. That's my website. You can book a discovery call. Let's connect, book a connection call and see um, if you're seeing, let's talk about what your goals might be and who you're serving and how you help them. And maybe there's something that we can do together. But when we work together, if you're ready to go right off the bat, go book a legacy brand experience and we can do brand alignment. We can do your visuals. What do you need done? Your website, sales book cover, oracle cards or affirmation cards, marketing materials. I got you.
I love it. Well, thanks so much again.
Thanks so much for having me. This has been so much fun. And anytime you want to talk marketing, you just shout out, let me know.
I will, and hopefully everybody listening to this call will too. Thanks again, everybody. You're listening to the Dr. Diane Show. You can follow me on my site, Dr. Diane Hayden at YouTube and drdianehayden.com. Thanks. Have a great day.